Hello, I'm Nick Savini. Welcome to Wales Today. The headlines this lunchtime. Budweiser announces a £100 million investment to power its brewery near Newport with green energy. And should there be more powers for the Senedd? The new body looks at all the options, including independence. Good afternoon. Over £500 million in investments have been announced by two major companies aiming to cut down dramatically on their carbon emissions. Budweiser is to transform its brewery near Newport into a site powered entirely by hydrogen generated from renewable energy. And a paper mill in Flintshire is creating hundreds of jobs with a green energy investment. Our environment correspondent Stefan Messenger has all the details.
The Prime Minister courting big business at a global investment summit in London, arranged ahead of the major climate change talks in Glasgow in just 2 weeks' time. And an announcement that almost £10 billion is to be invested by foreign firms in efforts to cut emissions. They include two Welsh projects. Budweiser's brewery in Meiga in Monmouthshire will invest £100 million in enabling its factory to run on green hydrogen fuel.
We believe when it's built, it will be the largest green hydrogen project in Wales as of current announcements today. And we think it's a really exciting opportunity to show how using sun, wind and water, we can help to decarbonise one of our most popular and desirable household products and make it more sustainable and more pleasurable to keep enjoying it in the future.
Meanwhile, £500 million worth of funding was also confirmed by the Turkish owners of Eren paper mill in Shotton, Flintshire, to power the site with biomass fuel and change the operation to focus on cardboard made from waste paper. 300 new jobs are set to be created here.
Free the tariffs and you can see the growth in investment. We're talking here about inward investment into the UK because we know that it will help our economy to grow and it will help those who invest to have greater outputs for their businesses and therefore to make these innovative solutions become part of the future which we can share with those other countries who we know need to grow.
It comes as the UK government unveils a long-awaited strategy for decarbonising housing too, with £5,000 grants up for grabs for homeowners in Wales and England to replace gas boilers with green heat pumps. But the Welsh Government says it's frustrated it wasn't informed of the plans. The Deputy Climate Change Minister, Lee Waters, tweeting that the funding available would only cover around 0.3% of Welsh homes.
The solution for one house might not be the same for another, so it's a very complex package that needs to be developed. Putting heat pumps in and providing grants for that, yes, could be a part of that solution, but there's so much more to it than that.
A flurry of announcements with more expected in the coming days, both from the Welsh and UK governments, on how our hugely challenging climate change targets can be met.
Stefan Messenger reporting there. There were 81 deaths registered involving COVID in Wales in the latest weekly figures from the Office for National Statistics. This is 17 more than the previous week. Meanwhile, the latest daily figures from Public Health Wales show there were 2 deaths of people with COVID. There are 3,200 new cases. A man arrested on suspicion of sending a death threat to the Labour MP Chris Bryant has been released on bail. The 76-year-old from Pontycymer in Bridgend was taken in for questioning. After it was reported by the politician, Mr Bryant called police after receiving the threat via email. It comes in the wake of the death of Sir David Amess, the Tory MP, stabbed to death in Essex. Independence will be one of the options being considered by a new commission set up to examine Wales's future relationship with the rest of the UK. The commission has been set up by Labour ministers in Cardiff Bay. The Welsh Conservatives say it's a waste of time and resources, but it's been welcomed by Plaid Cymru. Our political editor, Felicity Evans, is in the newsroom for us. So, Fliss, can you tell us a bit more about this commission?
Absolutely, Nick. Some background first. The First Minister, Mark Drakeford, has been saying for some time now that he doesn't think the arrangements between the 4 governments of the United Kingdom are working particularly well. And he's been arguing for the Welsh Government to get more power power over decision-making in Wales to put it on a more equal footing with the UK government, but still remaining within the United Kingdom. So a sort of federalism, really. But the UK government isn't responsive to that, really. The UK government's position is that the status quo is just fine as it is, and they say they want to concentrate on the bread and butter issues that are important to voters. So what we have now is this independent constitutional commission that's been set up today. It's a manifesto commitment from Welsh Labour, promised ahead of the Senedd elections back in May. And the idea of this commission is that it will reach out to all parts of Welsh society and involve people in the conversation about Wales' future arrangements and what they should look like, really. It's being co-chaired by Rowan Williams, who is the former Archbishop of Canterbury, you probably remember that name, and also by the academic Laura McAllister. And they say everything's on the table, including independence.
Clearly we want to look at progressive options for the future of Wales, but I think that includes a whole suite or a whole arc of potential constitutional solutions. And I think as well it's important to be clear about language here. You know, independence means different things depending on different contexts.
And what's been the political reaction so far to this?
Well, the Welsh Conservatives have dismissed this, Nick. You said they called it a waste of time and resources. That's right. And then they went on to say that talking up independence and talking down the union won't do anything to cut the NHS waiting list backlog. Plaid Cymru have welcomed it. They say they'll use every opportunity to argue the case for independence. And Welsh Labour as a party is a pro-union party, of course, but as I suggested earlier, they would like to see a more federal approach to all of this. All of this constitutional stuff does sound quite abstract, Nick, but, you know, for the last few years, it has been one of the main fault lines in Welsh politics, really. So this commission's final report is expected in 2023. But the truth is, you do have to have the UK government on board if you want to see any sort of meaningful reform. And so far, there's no sign of that.
OK, Felicity, thank you very much for that. On tonight's Wales Today, we'll be hearing from a mother who lost her baby to a rare genetic disorder 17 years ago and has decided to share her experience in a special digital exhibition called You're Not Alone. Sharon Gorvit was told during pregnancy that her baby had the condition trisomy 18 and would not survive. But her daughter Sophie lived for 13 weeks. Sharon says she fought to give her the best chance of life and hopes her short film by a mould-based photographer will help other parents facing the same diagnoses. The Football Association of Wales and the Welsh Government have launched a joint education programme to take on online hate towards girls and women. Abuse directed at female players in Wales prompted the move. They say education is needed on the negative impact online hate speech and misogyny can have on women and girls, not only in football, but across society. Take a look at the weather forecast now. Sabrina is here, and it is a grey day, Sabrina.
Hi Nick, yes, not the brightest of days out there. There's plenty of low cloud, misty into murky in places, together with some outbreaks of rain. We've also locally got some gale force winds. And then tomorrow, another unsettled day in store with a thunderstorm warning in force across the country. So here's the pressure sequence then for the next few days. Frontal systems bringing some wet and windy conditions. Quieter on Thursday and Friday, but with that does come some colder conditions. So through this afternoon then, outbreaks of rain pushing northeastwards across the country, some of this on the heavy side. There could locally be some rumbles of thunder. The wind's fresh to locally gale force. We've already had a wind gust of over 50 miles an hour in Snowdonia this morning, and it's still on the very mild side for the time of year, with highs of around 16 to 19 Celsius. So through this evening, we're going to have some lingering rain clearing away to then allow for a brief drier slot, and then further scattered showers will filter in overnight. Again, at some of these on the heavy side with some rumbles of thunder possible. The winds ease in somewhat, but still gusty in places, especially along parts of the south coast. It will be another mild night for many, with temperatures in double figures towns and cities. So tomorrow then, another unsettled day, showers and longer spells of rain tracking northeastwards across the country. Again, some bursts on the heavy side with the risk of some rumbles of thunder. In some spots we could have some gale force winds, especially for exposed coasts and hills. Temperatures a shade lower but still on the mild side for the time of year. So tomorrow then we do have a thunderstorm warning in force across the country. That's because of the combination of some heavy rain, some thunderstorms and some gusty winds. So that warning is in place from 4 a.m. until midday, as there could be a few issues. And then on Thursday and Friday, cooler, drier, but with a few scattered showers. Nick, back to you.
Felicity, Sabrina rather, thank you very much indeed. Thomas David will be here with the roundup of the day's news at 6:30, but until then, from all of us on the Lunchtime team, have a great afternoon. Goodbye.